Hi, my name is Emily,
And my name is Christine.
and we did our practicum with the Wood County Park District. And we worked with Jamie Sands, who is the Volunteer Services and Communications Specialist at the Wood County Park District. Our time for the practicum was split between working there at the headquarters with Jamie and doing work on our own time. And we completed this in the fall of 2018 between September and November.
So while we were working with Jamie in the Parks District, our goals were to find the population data for the communities within Wood County, in essence, all the populations for the cities, townships, and villages, to find the distances from the parks with the maintenance services to all of the other parks. We also compiled data from quarterly programs with the program attendance data. We began analyzing trends within program attendances and provided maps with 5 and 10 mile radii around the parks to help in any further analyses.
As Christine said, we started our practicum looking at the population data, and we got this census data for all the villages, cities, and townships within Wood County. We used the 2016 estimates based off of the 2010 census because it was the original midpoint of our further research.
As we said earlier, we found the park distances. So what this entailed was using the addresses that were given in the programs that are given out quarterly with Google Maps in order to calculate the drivable distances. We did this instead of as the crow flies because this is more relatable back to efficiency and financials than just a straight distance. This is intended to be used with any future analyses of any park data and strategic planning.
All right, so the bulk of our practicum was looking at the park attendance data that was provided to us. We compiled this data into a Google Sheet that combined the quarterly reports and the attendance reports that Jamie gave us to work with. We used all the information that we compiled in order to suggest improvements for the park district and the programs that they offered.
As we said earlier, we've provided maps of the 5 and 10 mile radii of the parks within Wood County. We did this using a mapping system online and then overlaid an outline of Wood County on top of the map.
So from this practicum, the first thing we learned that data reporting systems are not always completely accurate, nor do they provide the full picture of what is trying to be represented. We found the inconsistencies in the data as we were compiling them. A couple of these included inaccuracies between the number of children and number of adults attending the programs not lining up to what the total attendance was. And then also, we thought there may be inconsistencies between whether or not programs were being reported as canceled or if the attendances were just put as 0. And then, as Christine mentioned before, and as you saw in the map of the counties, or of the parks within Wood County and the 10 mile radii, when given those 10 mile radii, it covers almost the entire county.
Additionally, when we attend programs ourselves, what we always see is the finished product, which ultimately has a lot of work behind it. And I think it's really important to realize that when we were with Jamie in her office, we were able to see some of that work being done as she worked with some other students on some of the larger programs that the Wood County Parks District does for the community. Also, communication between organizations. When we were looking for the population data of Wood County, we weren't able to find it using our own resources, so we had to reach out to a different organization and they were able to give it to us. And then also, evaluation and improvements are a continuous process. Although we've found this data and helped the Wood County Parks District get to this point, there's always more that can be done either with our data or different data that the Wood County Parks District may want analyzed.
So as students at BGSU, there were quite a few benefits of this practicum. One of the main ones was building communication skills. We had to communicate with professionals within the Wood County Park District, specifically Jamie, and then also communicating with professionals from the courthouse in order to get the information we needed to complete the practicum. And then we also had to communicate with each other in order to best manage our time and look to the future for where we wanted to go with the project. And then as I mentioned, this leads into time management skills. We also had to develop organization skills because we were given a whole lot of data that if we didn't organize it well, it would not have been easy to summarize the data and analyze it. And then in order to do this, we use Google Sheets to organize the data.
This experience also had a lot of benefits to ourselves being future teachers. Like Emily said, communicating with professionals was one of the higher ones. So being a teacher in the future, communicating with professionals will happen on a daily basis as we're communicating with our fellow teachers. And then additionally, within our classroom, this gives us a bigger idea of some math-oriented professions that may not seem like it from the outside looking in. And then with the compilation of data, this gives us some experience doing something similar to compiling grades in a grade book, as there could be from different assessments, but all need to result in one grade. We also had to apply context to content. We were given many, many numbers, and we had to apply context to them, that each number was an individual person and not just a number on a spreadsheet. We also had to adjust plans we had when we were faced with obstacles. So when it came down to the line, we only had 4 hours left. We had to adjust what our goal was. Instead of giving them an unfinished product, we adjusted what our goal was to give them a finished product for where we were at.
The classroom activity that we designed is for a 6th grade classroom and for a lesson specifically for statistics and summarizing data when given it in a context. So the lesson begins by giving the students the park locations as we were given, and then doing something similar to what we did in order to find the distances from each park to the 3 determined maintenance service parks. The students then have to use their prior knowledge of statistics in order to summarize the data for each of the maintenance service parks, to then, as a group, determine whether or not the locations of those service parks are most efficient in order to service all of the parks in the county. So if they decide that changes need to be made, they have to describe and explain and justify why they reached that solution. And then the assessment for the activity would be for the students to write a letter to the Wood County Parks District explaining what they did and how they reached their conclusions.
Thank you.